Hi, I'm Kelsey from RTINGS.com. Today we'll be doing a review of the ROCCAT Burst Pro Air. We'll be evaluating on our standardized test bench to see how it performs and if you should buy it. The ROCCAT Burst Pro Air is a lightweight gaming mouse. It's the first wireless entry in ROCCAT's popular Burst lineup and shares the same symmetrical shape as the two earlier models, the ROCCAT Burst Pro and the ROCCAT Burst Core. Design-wise, this mouse looks a lot like the other mice in the series. It has a solid top shell made of translucent plastic. Under this top shell, you'll see a honeycomb structure and RGB lighting zones under the entire top of the mouse. There are two buttons on the left side and a dedicated button for changing CPI settings behind the mouse wheel. Now we'll look at the tests. Let's start with the weight. With a lighter mouse, you can make faster movements. This can give you an advantage in reaction-based games and first-person shooters. On the other hand, you may prefer a heavier, more comfortable mouse for other genres. This mouse is lightweight, weighing in at 81 grams. However, it's around 10 grams heavier than the Burst Pro and the Burst Core, and it isn't as lightweight as many other wireless gaming mice available around the same price. Good build quality is important for the overall longevity of your mouse, and it can also play a role in how comfortable it is to use. The build quality on this mouse feels great. The outer shell feels very solid, and there's no wobble in the scroll wheel or click buttons. Unfortunately, there's a very faint rattling sound if you shake the mouse. Also, you can actuate the side buttons if you apply a good amount of force on the plastic panel surrounding them. However, these issues shouldn't be deal breakers since they don't come up when using the mouse normally. The ROCCAT Burst Pro Air has a flexible USB-C power cord-like cable for charging the mouse. It's very lightweight and glides nicely across desks, but it does keep slight kinks from its packaging. Moving on to the feet. The shape, location, thickness, and material of these feet contribute to how your mouse feels when you move it across your mousepad or desk. This mouse has two large feet that glide remarkably smooth on mousepads and desks. They make a slight scratching sound when used directly on desks, but this doesn't affect the gliding experience. The size and shape of this mouse make it versatile enough for a wide range of hand sizes and grip types. It's suitable for all hand sizes using a palm grip, but if you have small hands, you'll have a hard time reaching the front side button using either a claw or fingertip grip. The sensor is the essential part of your mouse. It's responsible for translating your movements into the cursor movements you see on screen. First up, CPI or DPI stands for counts per inch and relates to the sensitivity of your mouse. A wide CPI range with precise adjustment steps is important. Everyone has different sensitivity preferences, but most gamers prefer CPI settings between 100 and 4000. The CPI range on this mouse is extremely wide, and you can adjust it using the customization software by steps of 50. Next, liftoff distance. A high liftoff distance means you have to lift your mouse up higher to stop it from tracking. A lower liftoff distance means your sensor stops tracking sooner as you lift and begin moving your mouse. The minimum liftoff distance is very low, and you can adjust it in the software if you like. If you have a smaller mouse pad or play on low CPI sensitivity settings, you won't have to worry about the sensor picking up any unwanted movement when you lift and reposition your mouse. Polling rate is measured in hertz and dictates how often the sensor reports its position to your computer. Typically, you'll want to use the highest polling rate possible as higher values result in a smoother cursor movements. This mouse supports polling rates up to 1000 Hz. This is the current standard for gaming mice and results in a smooth cursor movement in-game. Click latency is a measure of how long it takes for your mouse click to be registered by your computer once you click it. A lower click latency can play a crucial role in how responsive your gaming experience feels, as any millisecond can make the difference between winning and losing. The ROCCAT Burst Pro Air has very good click latency. However, it's somewhat higher than both earlier models in the lineup. This mouse has 7 total buttons, and you can program all of them except for the device pairing button on the bottom, which also toggles between connection types. The left and right click buttons use ROCCAT proprietary Titan optical switches, which are rated for 100 million clicks. You can use the customization software to set a shift button to enable a second layer of button assignments. Although this mouse has a symmetrical shape, it only has side buttons on the left side, so it isn't truly ambidextrous. The ROCCAT Burst Pro Air connects wirelessly with its USB receiver or via Bluetooth. ROCCAT advertises a battery life of up to 100 hours with the lighting effects turned off. This mouse also has a compartment for storing the USB receiver when it's not in use. Moving on to software. A robust companion software can be helpful for customizing sensor specifics, button mapping, and adjusting RGB lighting. However, not all gamers will see it as necessary, and some mice have simple customization controls directly on the mouse. The ROCCAT Burst Pro Air uses ROCCAT's Swarm software. It has a clean, easy-to-use interface. It allows you to configure liftoff distance, debounce time, and angle snapping, along with more common customizations like custom profiles and CPI settings. You can also adjust the 4 independent RGB zones and save custom settings to the onboard memory. So this brings us to the main question: should you buy this mouse? Overall, the ROCCAT Burst Pro Air has all the elements of a solid gaming mouse, but it also helps to frame this mouse in the context of its lineup. The earlier two mice in the Burst lineup set up a reputation for being competitively priced, lightweight options with very solid performance. Unfortunately, the Burst Pro Air doesn't quite hit those same notes. This mouse weighs in at 81 grams, which is right at the higher end of what we consider lightweight. It also has slightly higher click latency than the earlier mice in the series. Lastly, unlike its predecessors, this mouse is at a premium price point. Ultimately, this mouse is a good bet if you're a fan of the Burst lineup shape and aesthetic and are willing to pay that premium price tag for the freedom of wireless connection. However, the wired ROCCAT Burst Pro is currently available for half the price, and it's a better choice altogether if you aren't dead set on wireless connectivity. If you're interested in a lighter and more affordable wireless choice, and don't mind the mouse design with honeycomb holes in the body, check out the HyperX Pulsefire Haste Wireless. Or if you're right-handed and interested in an alternate wireless option from ROCCAT at the same price point, check out the ROCCAT Cone Pro Air.